Good evening, beautiful guests. Good evening. My name is Lara Beaulieu, and I am the Executive Director of English in Action. I am thrilled to welcome you to the 8th Annual Immigrant Voices Storytelling event. If you haven't done so already, please silence your cell phones. Now, first off, I would like to thank our collaborators in this event, TACAW and their exceptional staff and board, and the fabulous Alia Howe of Writ Large. Please give them a round of applause. Please also give a round of applause to our lead sponsor, Obermeyer Wealth Partners. And next, I would like to recognize all of our sponsors for this event. Please hold your applause until I'm done. Our partners include Alpine Bank, Aspen Daily News, Aspen Public Radio, Aspen Times, Sarah Clark and Mark Iola, KDNK, Reese Henry, Roaring Fork Oral Surgery, Savage Excavation, and Timberline Bank. And our patrons include Aspen Alps, Bali Steel Detailing, Evolve Structural Design, and Holy Cross Energy. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, sponsors. And finally, thank you all for being here tonight and for your support of our programs. Most of you, many of you, are already part of the English in Action families. Our tutors, our students, our board members, our supporters, our advisors. Am I right? Are you all out there? As you know, we pair adults who want to improve their English skills with volunteer community members, one-on-one and in small groups. We also offer digital literacy classes and opportunities to engage in the civic and social life of our valley. We do this work because we believe that it is crucial, and we are all stronger when we all have the opportunity to be heard and to thrive. If you aren't already part of our program, please pick up information on your way out, and I hope that you will consider becoming a volunteer tutor, a student, a supporter of our programs. The most important thing that we do at English in Action is connect people. When we don't know each other's stories, when we don't see each other as individuals, it can be profoundly isolating and even dangerous. We are here tonight to do something vitally important in these troubling times, to build bridges, to listen, to share, to strengthen our connections with one another. We are here to celebrate and honor the contributions of immigrants to our valley and to our country. Our storytellers this evening are ordinary people who are extraordinarily brave to stand before you. Their stories are universal and unique. I invite you to open your hearts, to listen, and to see the world through different eyes tonight. And now I would like to introduce you to our curator for this evening, Alia Howe of Writ Large. Alia, a performance artist and our coach, is an immigrant herself from Great Britain. She has worked with all of our storytellers on developing their performances for tonight and for preparing for this moment. Please welcome Alia.
Good evening, everyone. It's such a treat to see a full house and a community that values storytelling and is here to listen with hearts wide open. It's such a privilege to listen to these stories and cultivate them and have the backstory. And you're in for such a treat tonight. But I do also want to talk about this incredible moment of where we're with a community that is supporting storytelling. And a community that supports storytelling thrives of the community. And when we don't listen to one another and ask each other questions, why do you think that? Why do you feel that? How long have you felt that? Where did that opinion come from? And a curiosity for one another's stories. When we don't have that, it's just a bunch of individuals and we become disparate. So it is such a juicy moment to see this full house. Thank you for coming. And without saying any more, I'm going to walk over here and introduce our first storyteller. Getting up on stage and sharing a story is terrifying enough, especially when it's something personal. Can you imagine sharing it in your non-native language? Could be more abstract. We'll have to ask them. Our first storyteller from El Salvador is Maggie Lopez. Maggie has been in the Valley for almost 18 years. She has 2 children, Baldwin and Genesis, and Maggie loves to spend time with her family. They enjoy cooking, swimming, and going out dancing together. Maggie also has a passion for learning and is dedicated to her personal language development. Tonight, she wants to say thank you to her English in Action tutor, Betsy Welsh. She thanks Betsy for her support, her time, and her compassion. And because of her work with Betsy, Maggie can now feel how much her English has improved, and she is proud to share her story here tonight. So as we listen to these stories, please, audience, respond, make noise, clap, stamp feet, shout, hooray, boo, whatever you're feeling, but let's listen like children as you hear this story. Let's welcome Maggie Lopez to the stage.
Thank you. One day, about 6 years ago, I stopped at a gas station in Carbondale. A lady was trying to communicate with the cashier. She immediately asked me if I spoke English, and my answer was, "Tell me what you need to communicate to him, maybe I can help you." I realized that the lady was there for a job interview. She told me she had already filled up an application. But the cashier was trying to tell her that at the moment, the manager was not there because she had an emergency, and that she should wait for a call from her to find out when she could return. The girl very kindly thanked us and left. Then I went back to my car, and while I was waiting for my gas tank to fill up, I began to think about a time 12 years ago when I was in the same situation as the girl in the gas station. And I can tell you that is really, really stressful and scary. I know because I was very young when I arrived in this country. I arrived in this valley in November 2007. I was 18 years old. 2 days after I arrived, I went to Aspen without knowing English, without the place, without knowing where I was. Someone told me, I went to the bus station at Ruby Park and sat for more than 2 hours. Someone told me that I should go there to find work, but I didn't know if this was a good way to get a job. While I was there, I thought about how I didn't speak English And if someone approached me to offer me a job, I wouldn't be able to speak to them. After a few hours, a lady approached me and spoke Spanish and asked me if I was waiting for the bus. And I told her yes. Then she asked me where I lived. And I told her in Algebel. And she said, "We are waiting for the same bus." What happened is that I knew where I lived, but I didn't know how to get back. Then the bus arrived, and the lady sat with me in the same row. She told me she was a little late for her English class. And she continued to talk to me about the program she attended. It was that I found out about English in Action. Thank you. Thank you. I knew I had to go. So we got off the bus and we went to the office together. The next 18 years, I made learning English my number one goal. I didn't want to be the young girl at Ruby Park or at the gas station in Carbondale who didn't know how to speak the language. I knew that English will be important in all parts of my life. When I had kids, I would need to talk to their teachers. When I had jobs, I would need to talk to my clients. If I didn't speak English and continue my classes, it wouldn't have been possible to start my own business. Thank you. Thank you. I have had my business for 12 years now. I speak at the parent-teachers conference at their school. I speak English with my clients every day. The English has changed me. I don't feel afraid. I don't feel stressed. I feel free because I can communicate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, Maggie. Wow. And we're so grateful that Maggie is sharing her story. She is now going to be running off to be with her mother-in-law down in Glenwood Springs at Valley View, who has just come out of knee surgery, and she is the translator. So thank you, Maggie. Our second storyteller, Sylvia Gallegos. You've got some friends in the house, girlfriend. She was born and raised in California in the late 1970s as a first-generation Mexican-American. After moving to Colorado more than 20 years ago, Sylvia raised 3 children here in the Roaring Fork Valley, all of whom are now adults in their 20s. For many years, Sylvia served as a community nurse in various roles before becoming a program coordinator with the Buddy program 4 years ago. She has a passion for supporting and empowering community members in any way possible. Now a happy empty nester, Sylvia enjoys walks with her 11-year-old German Shepherd, Luna, and getting out with friends to dance, travel, and take advantage of whatever adventure comes along. Sylvia's secret superpower is that she can parallel park like no other. And when I read that, Sylvia, I thought, let's have a competition on a parallel parking off. Welcome. Let's welcome Sylvia to the stage.
Diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. During a training session in 2020, our amazing coach and personal mentor, Ms. Cheryl Clark, spoke to us about the powers of introduction. She explained that a well-thought-out, intentional introduction can empower the speaker to own and command a room for any given situation. I feel this is a perfect opportunity for me to test that theory. My name is Sylvia Gallegos. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and ella. And I am a proud, badass Mexican-American Latina woman. Mother of Cheyenne, Ricky, and Jose, and an ally to all and any who choose to live and love authentically over comfort. I didn't realize it then, but these very strong characteristics and values began early in life for me. Born in Glendale, California in 1975, my father, Jose Luis Gallegos, 24, immigrated to this country from Durango, Mexico, without the proper documents after spending most of his youth in the streets of Chihuahua. My mother, Esther Gonzalez, 19, from Sonora, Mexico, immigrated to this country with a family petition from her stepfather, my grandpa, Luther Tyler. Now, some of you might find it hard to believe, but it was hard for me to write about myself. And in order to make this process a little more manageable, I decided to divide this story into 6 defining chapters. Chapter 1, my grandma Chuy. Chapter 2, El Sueño Americano, the American Dream. Chapter 3, I Am a Bridge, La Voz, the voice. Chapters 4 and 5, Faith and Forgiveness. Chapter 6, and hopefully not the final chapter, Empathy. My grandmother, Maria Jesus Tyler, was the first in my family to immigrate to this country. As a widow in the early 60s, she married my grandfather, Luther Tyler, a Native American Angeline that was much older than her, but over the years they made it work. While in her 20s, still in Sonora, my grandmother lost her first husband to a tragic motorcycle accident, leaving her alone to care for 4 kids, all under the age of 6 years old. She decided to immigrate to Los Angeles, leaving her 4 children behind under the care of her parents. Her parents, who were taking care of at least 6 other children for pretty much the same reasons. The trauma and devastation suffered by my mother and her siblings during those times has affected my family negatively for 3 generations. Chapter 2, El Sueño Americano. By the time I was of school age, my family had been in this country for close to 2 decades, working, raising families, and reaching, sometimes more like clawing, towards the American dream. Yet to date, none of these amazing adults that raised me have made it a priority to either learn or confidently practice the English language. The reasons vary depending on the person. I imagine it has nothing to do with the popular assumptions that they were stubborn, lazy, ignorant, or blatantly disrespectful towards American culture and its official language. I can counter those assumptions with a deeper reality. Shame, imposter complex, priorities that were much more critical. Possibly and most likely, a deeper need to hold on to the one piece of their beloved Mexico that no one can erase from their otherwise very American lives. Chapter 3. I am a bridge. La voz, the voice.
It's a Spanish section.
En esta casa se habla español. Y el inglés lo pueden aprender en la escuela o practicar allá afuera con sus amigos. I often heard my mom declare this rule and its variations. In this house, we speak Spanish. And English can be learned in school or out there with your friends. For me, there was pros and cons to this rule. On the one hand, my Spanish has always been pretty good. And being fluently bilingual has opened up my literacy world to twice the fun. I have never been considered a no sabo. And I can usually say the word parangakutirimicuaro without a problem. The cons. My school experience wasn't so promising. You see, I entered the school system as an ELL student, automatically placing me in the lowest levels of learning across the board. No questions asked, no expectations. No need to invest much into the student. She most likely will not graduate high school. But at home was a different story. I was the bridge, la voz.
You were.
I was the bridge.
What did you do as the bridge and the voice? Did you babysit?
I was a bridge, la voz. I was also the unpaid babysitter. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. The unpaid babysitter, the house cleaner, and the backup laundry lady, while the adults in my life were out making ends meet and dealing with traumas that they had not yet dealt with. No one took more advantage of this resource than my beautiful Grandma Chuy. By the time I was 10 years of age, she had me going with her to doctor appointments, hair appointments, and ordering for her at the restaurant. Now imagine little me explaining to my grandmother's doctor that her gastritis may have something to do with her addiction to coffee, or maybe her nervios, her nerves. Or letting the waiter know at the restaurant that ice in my grandmother's water was a big no-no, porque le da la tos. She'll catch a cough. Chapters 4 and 5, faith and forgiveness. Jehová es mi pastor, nada me faltará. One day, during my last hour of school, I became violently ill. Fever, vomiting, excruciating pain, all of it, all at once. For reasons I have yet to understand, it took my parents 3 days to get me medical attention. When the staff at the pediatric office took one look at me, they called an ambulance and rushed me to the hospital. Diagnosis, sepsis. Due to acute appendicitis. Treatment, emergency surgery, like yesterday. Prognosis, no guarantees, for the toxicity levels in her blood have invaded her whole body. All this information thrown at my parents in English, through an interpreter that was not me. All I can do was watch helplessly as my parents' faces went from confusion to shock to absolute devastation. As I was being wheeled away, my mother lovingly reached and whispered, "Have faith, and don't forget your favorite psalm. Aunque ande en valle de sombra de muerte, no temeré mal alguno, porque tú estarás conmigo. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me." The good news is I lived. I spent many weeks in the hospital with some setbacks, occasionally interpreting from my own hospital bed for various family members about my own recovery, and even interpreting for some family members on my hospital floor. I learned a lot about medical terminology, and I discovered an independence and courage in me that has served me well through the years. Most important, I learned about faith, empathy, and forgiveness. Now, some may judge and say it was selfish, irresponsible, possibly even abusive for the adults in my life to put so many responsibilities on me as such a young child. I can agree. For the ways I may have been neglected and parentified have left me with anger and resentments that I have yet to heal from. I can also say that these lived experiences have developed a strength and resilience in my family and I that have carried us well through many trials. I'm learning to forgive. Chapter 6, hopefully not the final one, empathy. I later earned my LPN nursing degree and dedicated, thank you, and dedicated more than 20 years in family and community practice, finding great joy and fulfillment in seeing the looks on my patients' faces when they realize I am bilingual. And it's okay to speak about your gastritis and your nervios in your native language. Later honing that skill into my work in nonprofit. I am proud to say that the passion I have for serving and empowering my community has inspired me to do that today more than ever. I am bilingual, and I have a unique skill. I am bilingual, and I deserve the praise and compensation for it. I am bilingual, and I have earned the right to have my seat at the table, or maybe even create my own. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. That was fun. And that ending, she took it home, didn't she? And audience, thank you for making noise. Keep it up. Renew your, I'm listening with a responsive ears of an enthusiastic child come adolescence. I'm going to make noise in this room tonight. For the next storyteller coming up is Jennifer Velasquez, also from El Salvador. Jennifer has called the Roaring Fork Valley home for 8 years now. She and her husband love to spend their time together riding bikes and hiking. Jennifer is grateful for all the help and support in learning English that she has received from English in Action. And can we put our hands together for all the tutors here in the room? I mean, thank you. Thank you so much. And she's especially grateful for her current tutor, Jane. Since she was little, Jennifer learned how important it is to have goals and work hard to achieve them. Telling her story on stage tonight is an example of her stepping into one of her goals. One day, Jennifer hopes to own her own business. Let's put our hands together and give Jennifer a warm round of applause as she steps into one of her goals.
Today is the day. When I was little, my parents made the difficult decision to leave El Salvador and seek a better life in the US. They left me in the loving care of my grandparents, who became my guiding light during those formative years. Growing up with them, I experienced the culture-rich and traditional family values. My grandparents provided me with the support and love that shaped who I am now. I always envision a better future for myself and wish to achieve my goals. And all the people around me feel proud. But in El Salvador, it's very difficult to progress because the system and the public school is quite poor. They don't have the subject I want to study. And I didn't have the money for pay private school neither. However, I decided to start business administration. At the same time, my father applied to obtain a visa for me. Was approved in the following year. Yeah. Coming here, it was a big transition. It started with the culture, it's different. With the language, you're missing a lot of things. But I realized every difficulty in the life is opportunity to grow. When I arrived in the US, I landed in a big airport in Houston. I stayed around 3 months with my father, and then I decided to move to Colorado. My mother and my siblings live here. I remember the day because I felt so excited because I was going to see them. But at the same time, I felt so nervous about getting lost in the airport. Especially my English is virtually non-existent. When I arrived in Colorado, I landed, to my surprise, by the way, I landed in Navarez Airport. And when I looked at it for the exit door, I realized the airport had just one exit door. So I couldn't get lost in the airport. There were so many moments I felt so embarrassed because I couldn't understand what other was saying. I had to use all the time Google Translate. So I decided to take English class. But the first thing I had to take, it was English test to determine my English level. So I took the test. I was the last one to finish it. But you know what? I got a highest level. I felt proud of myself. When I arrived the day to the class, I realized that all the students in the classroom speak English fluently. They read books and had good communicate each other. But me, I fell out of my depth because I barely say hi. I decided to move the lowest level. As I continued with my English class, they told me about English in action. I applied for a tutor, and I worked with Daniel around 2 years, and he couldn't able to continue with my English lesson. So I decided to apply again for a new tutor. And after 3 years, long to wait, I got Jane. I'm so lucky because I'm learning a lot with her. Along the way, I had already met my husband. He became a significant part of my life. He motivated, encouraged me, and supported me all the time. Even though neither of us speak English fluently, but we both made the effort to communicate and learn it together. I'm still learning, and I'm not fluently yet. But every step I take brings me closer to my goals. And with the support of my family, my husband, and knowledge to continue to gain, one day, I achieve all my goals, my own businesses. I'm so excited about the future and the all opportunity that lie ahead. And I'm so grateful with English in Action for giving me this great opportunity to be here. I'm learning a lot because of them. And now I can say that my English is improved a lot. And I had the ability to communicate with others in English. Thanks a lot.
I love hearing the little mannerisms and phrases that I imagine come from their tutors. and just I feel like I get to know you tutors in the room of these storytellers vicariously as the stories change and grow. And I imagine you feel the same thing when you hear your English in action immigrant sharing after they've worked with me. It's really a fun backwards and forth. Our next storyteller. Let me find you, Vivi. Vivi Ribero's journey began in Brazil and brought her all the way to the mountain town of Basalt, Colorado. She shares a cozy life in the mountains with her beloved, loved Argentine-American husband, Sebastian, and their spirited Shih Tzu, Millie. Whether she's skiing through fresh powder, biking along valley trails, getting lost in a book, or experimenting with new recipes in the kitchen, Vivi brings joy and curiosity to everything she does. While she works in HR at Pitkin County, her passion reaches beyond the office. With an MBA in financial planning and certification in both financial and life coaching, Vivi has made it her mission to help fellow immigrants feel empowered and confident with their finances. She knows firsthand how overwhelming it can be to build a life in a new country, and she's deeply committed to making financial planning simple, approachable, and culturally aware. Fluent in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, Vivi moves with ease between communities, always ready to offer guidance, a warm smile, and a listening ear. For her, it's not just about numbers, it's about helping people to prosper and succeed. So let's put our hands together to welcome Vivi to the stage to succeed in storytelling.
Just trying to see if I can see my friends here, but no, I can't see you. Where are you from? In America, when I hear that question, I feel I'm being ranked, judged. That's not a simple question, not one that I can answer in a single breath. My story is not just a place in a map. It is woven from people, rituals, and experiences that have shaped me. Years ago, in a train rattling through Buenos Aires, my husband turned to me and asked, "Where is your family from?" I hesitated. I don't know. But that wasn't entirely true. I just hadn't pieced it all together yet. A memory surfaced of my grandmother's laughter and the stories about my great-great-grandfather from Portugal. years later, walking through the streets of Lisbon, I saw a woman that could have been her sisters. All right, I'm from Portugal. But then, there was my grandfather and his cousins, Italian through and through, with their piercing blue eyes and unmistakable noses. Maybe I'm from Italy too. Last year, I got a call from my cousin while I was biking. Hey, Vivi, do you want to apply for the Spanish citizenship? That's when I learned about Berlamina Blanca, my great-grandmother from Spain. Spain, Italy, Portugal. What about Brazil? My heart belongs to Minas Gerais. In Minas, we are known by our cautious nature, our shyness, and deep friendships. My husband jokes we are hobbits, lovers of comfort, hearty meals, and welcoming homes. But everything shifted when I moved to the United States. Everywhere else in the world, when I said I was from Brazil, people smiled and got excited. In Brazil, people loved that I'm from Minas Gerais. But here, I became a Latina with a weird accent. I was shocked when I realized I've been judged by my accent. I speak 3 languages. Even my name changed. Viviane. In Brazil, it was familiar. But here, it became Vivian or Bibiana. Versions that didn't quite feel like me. Each time someone altered it, I felt like a piece of my identity slip away. That's why I prefer Vivi. The hardest part wasn't the labels or name changes. It was the loss of who I had been. In Brazil, I was known by my intelligence, presence, and respect I had earned as a successful businesswoman. But here, I had to start from scratch. No one knew my story, my skills, or my worth. I felt like a stranger to others and myself. At first, I felt lost. But over time, I realized that my story isn't just a place on a map. It is shaped by relationships, rituals, and restrictions I face. Take Tuscany, for example. When I was there, I didn't feel like an outsider. The green rolling hills of Tuscany reminded me of Minas Gerais. The meals shared around long tables and the rhythm of life, it all felt like home. For me, home, Minas, it smells like freshly brewed coffee and baked cheese bread. Our doors are always open for friends. Relationships take time to build, but they will last forever. Our hills, our food, our traditions, this is all part of us. Here, I had to navigate new landscapes. Ones shaped by my accent, by my appearance, or by the assumptions where I came from. I had to learn how to rebuild my confidence and celebrate who I am, even when the world didn't see me. Where I am from? Well, if someone asks me that again, now my answer is layered. I'm from Belo Horizonte, Minas, where I learned the value of deep friendships. I'm from Tuscany, where I found a deep connection through shared rituals. And I'm from Basalt, where I walk my dog, Millie, in Willits. I bike the Rio Grande Trail, and I find peace in nature. And when people ask, are you going back to Brazil? Frequent question. I know my answer. I can't. I'm not the same person that I was when I left, and I wouldn't fit there entirely anymore. So, where am I from? People. I'm from the relationships that anchor me. My loved American-Argentinian husband. Yesterday was our 16th anniversary. My dear friends and family in Minas. And the friends, I'm sure the Colombians are here in some place. And my dear friends and community I found here. Rituals. I'm from the languages we speak at home, the meals we share, and the music that transports me back to Brazil. Restrictions. I'm from the challenges I face, the barriers I've broken, and the journey that brought me here today. I'm from everywhere and everyone who had left a mark on my soul. Obrigada, gracias, and thank you.
Bravo, Vivi. I get so nervous for everyone. Our next storyteller, Veronica Rosales, is from Mexico. She was born in the big Mexican city, and she's mother of Stephen and Alfonso. She loves her family so deeply. She feels lucky to have found her true love a little later in her life when she met and married her husband, Jeff. Veronica is a happy person, and she enjoys learning new things all the time. She has been a student with English in Action for 17 years, and while working hard to improve her English, she has become very close friends with her tutor, Lynn. English in Action has changed Veronica's life in many ways. One of the biggest ways has been that she has grown her own business and created opportunities for other women to make their lives better. When she's not working, Veronica likes to spend her time hiking, biking, skiing, dancing, and being with her family. Let's put our hands together to welcome Veronica.
I was born in my beautiful Mexico City, in a big family with 3 brothers and 2 sisters. When I was 6 years old, my parents had to get divorced, and we moved in with my grandma, Maria Luisa Medina. She was a happy lady, smart, and also she was strict. She always provided the rhythm and the rules of the house, while my mother, Olivia Pasos Medina, went to work far away from home, leaving the house very early in the morning. She was working at the kitchen in a huge factory. My loving mother She always found the ways to provide quality family time together. We make a beautiful memories. In the winter 2003, I was forced to leave my country for the safety of myself and my son, my little son, Alfonso Lopez. Leaving my family, leaving my mother, leaving you, Mommy. Was a tough decision, especially when I refused to give you a kiss and a hug to say goodbye. I was superstitious. If I did that, I was afraid I will never see you alive again. Guess what? 21 years later, my mother is here. Te amo, madre. It is hard to move, pick up your life, and start from the beginning. It's just as difficult for so many immigrants that are forced to leave for survival and safety. They are unsure where they will live, if they will find a job. When I first arrived, I was so lucky to work part-time, raising my son and learning English at CMC. By 2006, I started to work full-time, leaving my home 4:45 in the morning, and often finishing so late. I couldn't take my English classes anymore. I don't know how can I move forwards. My life was hard. I was working so much, but a wonderful thing happened at the same time. I met Jeff Novogratz, the grandson of hardworking immigrants. He was my boss, and we are friends for 12 years. In 2016, he became my husband. In 2017, the father to our son, Steven Novogratz. My older son, Alfonso, he also built a beautiful life in this valley, and I am so proud the responsible and hardworking man he became. I love my beautiful family, but I gotten ahead of myself. Well, 2008, when I met Sarah Kelly, she was a volunteer tutor at the time. She told me about English in Action, and I went there the very next day. Lara Bolio was the first welcoming face I saw at the English in Action. That day, my life started to change from a struggling immigrant, a single working mother, to a business owner and contributing member for our community. Soon, I was matched with a tutor, and the rest is the history, the person I became today, with the guidance and support with my beautiful tutor, Lynn Rasso. She helped me to grow my understanding in English. We started like a student and tutor with classes at the Aspen Library. Over the years, we became such good friends. We spent our time talking about our families and lives. And I am so proud to tell you that I speak English in my doctor's appointment. I passed my driver's test. And I got my driver's license. I speak English in Stevens Parents Teachers Conference. I belong to a community of kind people supporting one and another. And I never had to use the sentence again. Somebody speaks Spanish? May I have a translator? Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Time flies by and we're up to our last storyteller for the evening. I know. Let me introduce him. Mexican by birth, Francisco Paco Navarez Burgueno immigrated to the United States 35 years ago. After 12 years in New York City, Paco moved to the Roaring Fork Valley in 2002. He is the longtime program director of Aspen Santa Fe Ballet Folklorico. During his tenure with Aspen Santa Fe Ballet, he has mentored and taught nearly 5,000 students. He loves teaching his ballet students the art and traditions of Folklorico, a Mexican cultural icon he is. Yes, you are, Paco. He is also passionate about designing and sewing all those beautiful costumes. When not at work, Paco enjoys hiking and biking during the summer. Paco received the Governor's Leadership Award in 2018 from Colorado Creative Industries and was honored by English in Action in 2023 as the recipient of the organization's Community Leadership Award. Paco would like to thank the Roaring Fork Valley community for its unwavering support of Aspen Santa Fe Ballet Folklorico and its dancers. And he wants to give a huge shout out. A huge shout out to his mother, too, for raising him, for giving him life. And let's put our hands together to welcome Paco to the stage.
I'm an immigrant. How is to be moving around? How is to migrate? How is your life? How is your feelings? Some of us can handle it, but for some people it's hard, maybe impossible to migrate. It's so hard to leaving everything behind. Family, friends, your neighborhood, your cities, your comfort places. Why? Because the American dream, better life, better opportunities, freedom, peace. I'm the third child of a family of 5. My first migration was when I was a 5th grader, 9 years old. My mom got a new job in a close-by city. She was very sure with that job, she can raise in us. But the most important thing for her was to give us education. Yes. Then we settled down, new school, new friends, new teachers. Everything around us was new. Okay, 2 years passed. Then my sister has to go to college. Then another migration came. We moved to the big city, to Chihuahua City. Of course, better opportunities, a lot of schools to choose and all of that. And it was great. I went to school, study, getting my bachelor's degree as a chemical engineering. Thank you. And then I found an after-school program folklórico. Yep. It's where I learned dances. It's where I learned how to put all of those culture and traditions into the stage. Love it. Yeah. Then a small migration came again. I moved back to the little town where I grew up. There was a chemical plant there where we made paper out of the trees. And I had to do my internship. I went, stayed there. They hired me as a quality control supervisor. I started my career as a chemical engineer in there. Good. Life was good. Young professional, young guy, happy, money, right? Then suddenly, I want to get a master's degree in chemistry. And then get all the paperwork and all of that, and here I am, moved to United States. Yep. But moved to the big city, moved to New York City. Wow, my adventure spirit was fulfilled of happiness. Wow, young guy living in the big city, right? Yeah, but I was missing something, the comfort of my family. Yeah. For us immigrants, we need to confront a lot of challenges. Missing reunions, family reunions, gatherings, newborns in the family, weddings, deaths in the family. We miss all of that because we're here. Our years and years of study, gone. We have to start from zero. Our professions and qualifications don't cross the border with us. I always think an American person who born here and raised here can be in the shoes of us immigrants. It's so hard to be judged by this skin color. It's so hard to be a stereotype. It's so hard to be targeted, to be persecuted. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to be an immigrant. But guess what? We stay here. Mm-hmm. We manage everything around us. Everything what I was saying before. New school, new everything around us. New language, new food, new neighborhoods. Are we here? We made friends. For now, and in my near future, I just want to I will stay as a global immigrant, travel places to places, meeting people around this earth, immersing myself in culture and traditions, expanding my knowledge in that, meeting new people, connecting with their hearts, and connecting with their souls. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Paco. And now I invite you all to stand up as I bring on the storytellers for their final bow. Thank you, Sylvia. Jennifer, Vivi, Veronica. Amazing.